Uh-oh, I think I might.
Good evening. Hi, Professor Barlow. Did you have sharing rights? Or are you able to share your presentation?
Helps if I unmute. No, not yet. It's not giving me screen sharing yet.
Okay.
Make sure to I get that little video thing up.
Okay. I made you co-host now. See if you were able to.
Okay, yep, share sound. Okay,
You got it?
now.
Okay, good. Yes. All right. So we're at 6:32. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties, so we can give it a few more minutes to allow some of our missing scholars to sign on, and then we can get started at 6:35. All right, we are at 6:35. We can go ahead and get started. I know we have a few who are missing. While I go over our participation expectations, hopefully that'll give them some time to log on. I know of one scholar who let us know that she was going to be a little late. This is why I didn't even put the music on, because I knew we'll be starting. So just a reminder, please, as we start tonight's session, make sure all cameras are on. Let me turn mine on so I can say hi. Make sure all cameras are on. Remember, participation is important, so make sure that you're responding to questions. If you have comments that you want to make or experiences you want to share, go ahead and do that. Unmute yourselves, drop it in the chat box. We'll be monitoring the chat box. And just make sure that you make it the best experience that you can have this evening. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over. Are there any questions from our scholars about tonight or just in general before we get started? All right, so no questions. Let's get started. I will pass it over to Professor Barlow. You guys enjoy tonight's session.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So tonight we are going to do a little bit of continuation of hotel operations and also a little bit of lodging and careers. I did retailor tonight's class because some of our scholars are going to be some shelves and pallets. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about that. So the way you kind of know exactly how the hospitality industry fits in what your goals are, of course. So as you have already learned about the travel tourism industry and the different components of our industry, again, we're just going to talk a little bit about that. Travel and tourism, again, is broken down with airlines, travel agencies, food and beverage establishments, fast food, themed restaurants, steakhouses, and also lodging and recreation, where you have Marriott hotels, Hilton hotels, Holiday Inns, you have amusement parks and Airbnbs. What type of airlines for my pilots? Again, I know we were talking about this a few days ago. What are the airlines that we have? And if you could unmute some of yourselves, please. What are the airlines?
Sorry about that. My dad was taking care
Oh,
of
no
me.
worries.
I haven't picked an airline I want to work at yet, but I don't know. Maybe
Right.
Spirit.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Spirit, and thanks, Eric. Actually, my son's name is Eric too, so you might get called on a few times. But there's Spirit, Allegiant, Delta, American. All those are United. All those are different airlines where you may be able to work at. I put fast food and themed restaurants in here too. What type of and it's kind of weird to say fast food and restaurants. And the reason why I said that is, for instance, for my hotel, whenever we have sports teams that come in to our hotel, one of the things I always want to know is what type of fast food restaurants, what type of pizza restaurants are around us? Because, they don't have a lot of money to spend in some of the theme restaurant or steakhouses. So we have a lot of fast food restaurants around us as well, because we want to be good neighbors. We want to be good hospitality partners and recommend everyone that's in that area. So we have, like, for instance, like a smash burger. That's not what everybody usually has. We have a Jack in the Box that's coming here, which I know is kind of strange. We're all excited about that. Can't wait for a Buc-ee's to get here. Love Buc-ee's. Some of our themed, our steak restaurants, we now have like a Connors. We have Capitol Grill, the Bristol Bar and Grill. And I actually reach out to these restaurants to let them know whenever there is a special event that's going on, or if there's going to be a big group coming in, because I want them to be prepared to have my guests or the influx of guests going to their establishments. On Tuesday, I was talking to you about the front desk. And what I did was give you actually a screen capture of what the check-in process looks like if you're going to be working at the front desk and how it's actually broken down with names and arrivals. Because I want everybody to just kind of be prepared about what you may be looking at if you go to internships and you're able to work at the front desk, a little bit what the screen may look like, particularly if you're going to a Hilton property to work. All of our screens look the same. So that way, no matter wherever Hilton property you work at, you'll be able to jump right on in to whatever job that you're required to do. So for us, we break it down with this column right here. This is for our diamond members. Our diamond members are the ones that make up over 300 room nights. So we tend to be very, very nice to them because they're the ones who's paying our bills. There is different levels of membership. So there's diamond, gold, silver, and blue. And I will encourage you as you start traveling to sign up for any hotel program, any airline any airline rewards program. The more you use these, the more that the establishment gets to know you, you will get tailored promotions. And you can use these to cash those points in. For instance, if you like doing Amazon, Hilton has a great program. If you can cash your points in, you can do Amazon. I actually just cashed some points in, about 90,000 points in to go to a concert. So you just have there's a lot of different varieties of what you can use your points for. Of course, you see these are just people's names that are coming to check into the hotel. Their room numbers, if they're guaranteed, which that just means that they have a credit card on their reservations, which that's what's required to do. E-check-ins. This is something, and I'm pulling up my phone so you can see. This is something that Hilton and Marriott is doing right now to be a Hilton Honor member. I don't know if you can see my phone really good too, but you can do a digital check-in and you can actually skip the front desk and you can go right and you can just check in right on your phone and you go right to your hotel room. And so this will give you a key to open up like the swimming pool area, exercise facility, things like that. Again, this is confirmation numbers or room types. But as you see, we have a lot of people staying with us tonight. But I wanted to bring your attention to two people. There is a Mr. Bowman that's arriving at the hotel. How many room nights does he stand here with us? It's not a trick question.
You ask the question one more time.
How many room nights is Mr. Bowman staying at this hotel?
45.
Yeah. So can you imagine staying at a hotel for 45 nights? And then look at this person, this Ryan Pozalek. So he's staying with us for 76 nights. So basically these people are going to be living here with us. And as a front desk representative, we will be talking with them, let them know the amenities that we have in the hotel, how often their room will be getting cleaned. And something here in Kentucky, if you stay at a hotel for 31 room nights or more, you are tax exempted, which means you are now a resident of Louisville. So we actually use that as a selling tactic to get people to stay at our hotels. So the longer you stay, the better your rate. And then you don't have to pay any taxes. So a lot of people do like that. Now, a couple of our young scholars are going to be chefs. So I wanted to include some videos of how you can be a chef in our hotels. So this is quick couple minute videos. I just want you to listen to. And so the way they're just sharing their experiences in working as a chef in the hotel industry.
In Mumbai, the JW Marriott brand is known for being very creative with food. No matter how large or small the meal is, our culinary team always goes the extra mile to go beyond guest expectations. I became a chef because of my love for food. I love to eat, I love to cook, but I also love to photograph food and beverage. We create such beautiful presentations with our food, it is hard not to want to capture it with my camera. For one event, our theme was a candy shop. Everything was colorful and it looked very sweet, but it was actually all savory. It looked like lollipops, candies and gum, but it was actually all gnocchi, colored goat cheese and cream cheese balls, melon balls with parma ham and sushi on sticks. I'm very proud of all our creations, but this one was a very memorable one for me. I've worked at JW for a year now. It is the best place to work. People rarely leave this hotel, so when an opening came up, I gave it my best shot. Now I know why people never leave. The property has grand and inspiring spaces that spur my creativity and imagination. Curries are very popular in Mumbai. I love to help guests understand the importance of balancing the hot and cold spices. Cardamom is a popular spice in traditional Indian curries. It is cold spice that must be balanced with a hot spice like mace or black pepper. Being able to educate guests on the ingredients and techniques used in preparing their favorite foods is a beautiful experience. As a chef, I think it is important to learn about the region, its culture, people and environment in order to understand why people eat the food they eat.
So for all my chefs out there, I don't know if you ever thought about working at a hotel. This gentleman was working in, I think he said Mumbai, but there are opportunities for Americans to work in Dubai. They actually love Americans working because it actually makes it more of an Americanized type of hotel. And you actually get paid lots of money to go work over internationally to work in those hotels. So something to think about. Now here's another chef at another hotel that's actually domestic in the United States.
The U.S. Grant is a small to medium-sized hotel, and we have a fine dining room. We do about 70 covers, and we can pretty much do whatever we want. There's not anybody stipulating you have to do this, you have to do this. It's sort of open, and that's the most unique thing in being sometimes in a hotel setting where we have free reign to do whatever we want. Changing the menu as seasonal as we want. When spiny lobsters come in, spiny lobsters will be on the menu. When we want to throw truffles on the menu, we put truffles on the menu. There's really no one saying, no, you can't do this. So that's the nice thing being at this property. And that goes not just in the dining room, but that's also through our banquet department too. This is my third historical hotel that I've worked in a row. And I've noticed with historical hotels, you end up to get a different staff. Everybody wants to be part of history. That blends into the staff, and that blends into the work ethic, that blends into the care, that blends into passion to be at this property. They're proud to be at the property. And that makes my job easier. And even myself too. It's really nice to say, hey, I work at the U.S. Grand Hotel. So it's a point of pride too.
So my chefs, think about working at a hotel yet? And see how creative that you can be with menus, with staff. People love knowing if you are someone that has a different ethnic background than what they may be accustomed to, bringing in your customs, bringing in your love of food is something that's great that people love. So I always recommend if you really want to go into culinary, think about being a chef at a hotel, at the bigger hotel. So the way you can really do what you want to do and the love that you have for food and able to give that to everybody. Let's talk about money. So I was mentioning something called our profit and loss statement. So this is something that we have to share to our investors to tell them how much money we have made for the whole month. You remember in the prior class, I was speaking about all of our invoices, the things that cost us to run a hotel, our food, the towels, the linen, the things we have to buy for our pantry, our gift shop, how much money it may cost us to actually have people in the hotel. So this is actually broken down. This is actually something that I look at every month to see, and I have to explain this to my corporate office. So for the month of, I believe this was May. This column right here shows this is how much money we made this year versus how much money we made last year. This is this column for last year. And then this is our budget right here. And remember, I always said, running a hotel, it's my own opinion, running a hotel is like running your own home. So for the month of May for room sales, how much money did we make in room sales? This column right here.
484,957.
Perfect. And then last year, because we always want to get better every single year. So last year we made 448,000. So we improved from last year to this year. So that's great. So our budget, when we do our budgets in August and September, we always try to do like a 5% increase. So our budget for this year for May was $483,580. So we made money compared to what our budget was. This column right here, this is something called no-show revenue. And that just means that we had $534 of people who, that's the money that we got for people who didn't show up. That's extra money for us. We love that. We didn't have to spend money on checking somebody in. We didn't have to give them anything in their room. This is just extra money. And this is people just didn't call us and say, hey, I wasn't coming. So always cancel your reservations 2 days ahead of time because you will get charged, or understand whatever the cancellation policy is. Miscellaneous sales. This is something that we have for instance, pet fees. Because, you know, if you're going to bring your furry friend, your furry family member into the hotel, that's a charge for that too. So our hotel, we give you, it's a $75 charge for 1 to 4 nights, or if you're going to stay there longer, it's $125. Because once you leave that hotel room, we actually have to have somebody come in and really clean it up, because you might come in, you might be allergic to that pet that was in there. So we just really want to try to make sure the room gets cleaned in a good manner. Vending sales. This is just quarters. This is laundry. This is how much money we got just for people washing the clothes in the hotel. Because it's $1 to wash your clothes and $1 to dry. And I'm actually going to raise it up because $1 is too low. Everything else is going up. So I'm actually going to make that $2. Just give us a little bit of extra money. And pantry sales, this is our gift shop. This is how much money we made for everybody going to the gift shop. This buying the sodas, your candy, any type of souvenirs. We made $2,000. So for the whole month of May, we made $495,694. And our budget was $491,435. So compared to our budget, we did pretty good. Probably could have done more depending on what's going on. And that's forecasting. That's how much money did it take for us? That's our labor. Were there any special events that were going on in town? Did a lot of people wanted to come and stay for any type of groups, or did they have meetings? So that's all what our director of sales will have to do to try to get people to stay in our hotel. See, so it all runs together. And then everything we do for a month is going to come on this spreadsheet here. Now, this is the cost of doing business. How much did it cost us? Hotel supplies. This is soaps and shampoos and conditioner that we put in the room. How much money did it cost us to put soap, shampoo, and conditioner in the room? This is our hotel supply line right here.
$959.
Mm-hmm. Kind of expensive, isn't it? When it's all kind of broken down. Complimentary breakfast. So you stay at a hotel, you get free breakfast, and we give you eggs, potatoes, oatmeal, waffles, fruit, bagels, coffee, tea, orange juice, apple juice. All that is a cost. So how much did it cost us for May?
$6,223.
Breakfast is very expensive. So we always take, how much waste was there, for our chefs. You don't want to buy so much food that you're throwing it away, right? Because you're throwing it away, you're not making money on it. So you always want to buy what the hotel is saying that we actually will have people in the that people be staying here with us. So for the month of May, after we bought all of the soap, shampoos, and food, and ironing board covers, skillets, anything like that, it costs us $17,726 just to put everything in the hotel. Those are all of our expenses. And it's kind of weird too. Yeah, so we'll know how much interest that we'll be making as a budget for that. It's a budget on amortization depreciation. That's for something like that's how much interest rates and things like that. And then of course our building would depreciate, and that's insurance, and then we have to pay our investors, we have to pay our landowners, things like that. But for the month of May, after I spent all of the money to buy stuff, after I had everybody paying them all my labor, we made $272,000. So you remember the top number was what, 400-something thousand, right? So now I spend about 200-something thousand, and that's how much money I made. Last year we did 255, and the budget was 263. So compared to our budget, so let's take 272,802 minus what our budget is. That's how much money we made for the month that we can tell our investors. And I don't know if anybody have their calculator out or can do this. How much money was that? About $9,200 that we made that we can put in our bank. Now, the good thing is, if you are working at a hotel, if you're a department head, if you're a salaried employee, which means you make the same amount of money every week, every 2 weeks, you get a bonus with that. Some of my department heads may make between $350. Some people make $491. I have a director of sales that made about $4,000 or $5,000. So we get bonus, we get a percentage off of what we actually put in the hotel. So a lot of math, but if you actually do your job well, and if you actually, if you actually like what you do, you can make some money off of it, it's pretty good. And sometimes like my bonus can be anywhere between $2,000 and $4,000 every single month. That's just, of course, you don't live off bonuses, but it's kind of nice to have if you have, like, I have kids, so like, hey, I gotta go school shopping, so I have some money. Now, real quick before we go on to break, what is the difference between a hotel and a motel?
One, is it ugly? Hold on, let me move. Sorry. The difference between a hotel and a motel is one that the one you drive into, you have to what is it? It's more, the rooms are kind of smaller than an actual hotel. In a way.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody else?
I don't know, but a hotel is like in a building kind of situation, and a motel is just like different rooms kind of outside. Not outside, but like it's not as big as a hotel would be.
Yeah. Exactly. So really, exactly what you're saying too. A motel is actually where you drive up to. All those rooms are on the outside with the outside doors, like your Motel 6s, your roadway inns. Those are just really just right off of the expressway. A hotel, you physically have to get out of your car, walk inside the doors, and you can go check in. So that's the difference of a hotel and a motel. All right, so my pallets. How many flights do you think are flown per day in the United States?
I would say somewhat in the millions because of how many people are going for business or going for uh, to see family or
Mhm.
every day would be that's a lot.
Yeah. Mhm.
That'd be a bunch.
That's all right. Keep on. What do you think?
I would
Kinda
say
shake your head.
it's Kavion, and I said
I'm,
somewhere.
I'm, I'm so sorry, sweetheart.
It's all right, and I would say somewhere in the 100,000s, maybe.
Yeah. Elijah?
Somewhere between like possibly a billion, possibly somewhere
I know
around
it's
there.
like this thing is a lot. 87,000. Yeah. So it's kind
Wow,
of
I was
close there.
close, yeah.
Person knows gonna be a little bit screwed and stuff like that, particularly everything's going on with the travel industry. But yes, about 87,000 flights are flown. So Palace, you're gonna be very busy flying from coast to coast. Hope you get some sleep. Definitely sign up for your hotel programs then. All righty. How many travelers do you think traveled in 2022? And this could be international.
Oh, so like anywhere in the
Yeah,
world?
anywhere. How many people you think was traveling last year?
Probably a billion.
Mm-hmm.
I would
50,000.
Say 60,000.
I would
Yeah.
say
Yeah, so there was 963 million that traveled last year. So there's a lot of people that are traveling here with us. Sorry, I got a phone call from work. I apologize. So it's about 7:02. We can take a little short break, take about a 10-minute break. You guys had a lot of math there for a second. There's a lot of that. Hey, Cece, you're not cooking tonight?
No, but might cook tomorrow.
No.
Might cook beignets tomorrow. So I don't know.
That's all right. Now, did you see the video about the cooking with the hotels and with the chef?
Yes.
Say, think about that. You're making desserts. Dessert chef is actually really good. Pastry chefs,
Okay.
they pay a lot of money.
So I did want to point out that our scholars who are going to be going on the internship, can you guys hear me?
I can, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
hi, this is Miss Rosie. I was just saying, hi, Professor Barlow. I just want to point out that a lot of our scholars will be helping out in the kitchen on the first leg of our internship. So this is really, really perfect timing for them. In my opinion, I definitely think this is great information for them to learn and lean into. And then it segues right into the cooking classes with Chef Dre and Chef Michelle. So you guys need to really take notes on this and what's needed, what's necessary, what's going to be required of you. A lot of you expressed wanting to help out in the kitchen. So just note, this is a lot of the things that you'll need to know. Thank you, Professor Barlow. This is awesome.
Oh, my pleasure. The great thing that I believe Professor Rosie, Chef Dre, and I really learned on our internships was really getting the real world experience. And it's, you kind of think, okay, as an internship, I'm only there for a few hours, days, or however long we might be there for. But to get the real world experience, and of course, you're not getting paid for it, but just getting that knowledge for you to go on to whatever career that you might be doing. And you might get exposed to the pastry portion of it, sous chefs, being the chef, how to order ask those people those questions. How do they order for the guests? How do they know what, where do they shop at? What type of food do they get? What's their inspiration for menus? You can ask them all those types of questions. And people love to talk about what they do. And the more that they see the young adults are really absorbing the information, I guarantee the more they're going to be trying to help and answer it for you. You get some mentorships. I believe Chef Dre, he worked in Disney World, part of his internships, and he still has those connections. Being a chef, he's, has opportunity to go to Costa Rica to do things like that. So it's really, right now, it's a great time for you young adults to try to figure out exactly how you want to fit, being a chef into your career. If you're going to do restaurants, if you're going to be in hotels, or even cruise ships. Cruise ships, that's a lot of time as well. And how to figure out that food to be served 24 hours a day for however long that cruise line might be selling for. So there's lots of options of what you want to do right now. So really, the sky's the limit. I know you probably hear people talk about that all the time, but you really do, guys, have a great opportunity to try to figure out exactly what you want to do and how to use it to better your knowledge in the future. So we'll take a quick 10-minute break. And while we do that, I have to call somebody back at work real quick because I'm always still on call, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So see you at 7:16. Welcome back. Wait for a few more seconds for everybody to get back on here real quick. Let's see. Elijah, everybody's back. Looks like who was on here tonight. Okay, so we're going to talk just a few more minutes regarding the economy and hospitality. So from a previous class with Miss Rosie, you were speaking about the economic impact of travel, of special events, of things that's actually happening to us in the world. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about that because we actually are affected by things that go on in the outside world. And for us, for restaurants, for the hospitality industry in general, like I said, people are not traveling, or if there's something that's going on in the area, people are not going to come and visit your restaurant. You cannot fly them anywhere, and they don't have any place to stay. So one of the things that we actually still are dealing with, even though it was in 2020, is a pandemic. Of course, for you young adults, you were really affected by it, because I don't know about for your schooling, but here in Kentucky, we closed everything down. We did a lot of Google Classroom, a lot of Google Meet stuff. The kids, you know, they had school on tablets and stuff like that, which is probably similar to what you had as well. But for us in the hotel industry, or the hospitality industry in general, there were a lot of job losses because people wasn't traveling anymore. There was nobody flying in internationally. So if you're not going to fly, I don't need to have anybody stand there. So we had to lay a lot of people off. And that really has hurt our industry, because it's been hard to rebound, even though this is 2023. It's still some jobs that, some positions that we don't have filled. And we don't know where these people went to, but there was a lot of job loss. As well, we lost a lot of revenue, obviously, because if people are not staying. I don't need to buy all those supplies. I don't need to employ all those people. So we just lost a lot of money. And so we're slowly starting to regain that as well. And something that's really kind of silly, the guest expectations. What we and the world has definitely changed now from 2023 versus a few years ago. And we've seen that in everyday life. We see that acted out on TV, on social media, where people seem like they just lost their daggone mind. But really for us, the guest expectations were really like right here, and it's really grown exponentially, because these people really have a choice, and they know that now, of where they're going to spend their money. So we need to make sure that we provide a great experience for all those guests, all those people that are coming in to stay with us, or they may be flying with us, or that you may be serving food for. Something that I just want to put is out here, the impact felt by the hospitality industry was massive due to the factors including the nature of the hospitality workforce and the pause on global travel and tourism and restaurant services. The pandemic introduced many variables that overall, the prospects of the hospitality industry. Due to the uncertainty of the changes in customer needs after the pandemic, hotels needed to review their existing service options to adapt the changes in the customer experience and the perception. And that really is true. And that is really in regards, for me, we felt that with our housekeeping services. And that's something that I keep harping on, and I'm telling my staff about, because we now do housekeeping your way. We're not cleaning your room every day. And if we're not telling you that as you're checking in, and you expect for your room to still be clean the way we were doing in 2019, you're going to really be upset that we're not doing that now. So we need to make sure that your experience is good. The perception of us not cleaning your room, a lot of people think it's because of COVID and we really didn't want to do it anymore. But really, the guests told us they don't want us in their room. They were just really afraid of people coming in or out of their room. You know, you might be sick, you might be coughing, you might not clean as well. So, you know, people just don't want you in your room anymore. And so that affects my housekeeping pay, because they get paid per room. So you see, it all affects everything. Now, on the human side, we had to really streamline our workforce. Like I said, too, we really had to pay. We lost a lot of people. And when we bring them back, a lot of our staff members telling us they wanted better working conditions, and good for you to speak up. So some of the things that we really had to do was higher pay. We were starting front desk workers out at like $13 or $14 an hour. Well, that's kind of horrible, because you can go down the street and go work for Chick-fil-A for $15 an hour. So for you, if you're entering the workforce, what you want to do, work at a hotel for $13 to $14 an hour, or go make $15. So we really have to look at our job model and, you know, do higher pay. A lot of our team members tell us they wanted more sick pay and holiday pay, more of a work-life balance. So, you know, we may have to do where we were have a flexible shift where maybe we have to do 4 10-hour shifts and now you're off on every weekend. We had to figure out how to make this work for our job market and for people coming back. Another thing, and I'm sorry, my screen is kind of messing up now. What do you think the global pandemic had on the hospitality industry? You know, like we said, you probably been studying, you see things on social media, you hear things on TV. Do you think that the pandemic is still having an effect on our industry, or do you think that it's over?
It still does. It still
I
has
think it has an effect. It still has an effect.
so do I. I still feel that it has a impact on businesses and hotels and all that.
Mm-hmm. And really in our everyday life. And there was a young lady that was speaking as well. I'm sorry, I didn't know who that was. I didn't see it come on the monitor. What was you saying?
It was
Is that CC? And what type of effect do you think that it's been having on the hospitality industry?
I can't really hear because in the area I'm in right now, it's cutting out.
Okay, no problem. As like Elijah was saying, yeah, so we still do have where we're trying to regain everything from 2020 all the way up to 2023. And even like we said in your everyday life, you know, Walmart, we had a Walmart here, as everywhere too, it's open 24 hours a day. Walmart's closing early now. Some of the restaurants may not be open for all the hours that they may used to do. Some of our restaurants that are closed certain days of the week and certain times because they don't have people that's working there anymore. So everyone is still adapting. People are still going back to work. So for our hotel industry, our CEO of Hilton actually saying that, you know, it's really bouncing back and we can really see that it is. And so we're very happy about it, but we still do have a long way to go. So what other areas, you know, we was talking about things that impact the hotel industry. Here are a few things I said, what may affect travel? So climate change. Anybody ever thought about going to an Alaska cruise and seeing the glaciers? And are there any glaciers left? So that's going to impact tourism for some of the people who want to travel and see that. You know, the cruise line may not be able to go there anymore because it's really, you won't have anything to see. Natural disasters, the fires that we have in Canada right now, that could be affecting travel. You know, I may not want to go to, I don't want to go to Canada right now because I may be in danger of the smoke, the fires. There's going to be a lot of tourism there for, you know, for some of the hotels that aren't there. You know, it's going to be reporters staying there. So, you know, the tourism industry for that is actually going up. The the first responders, now they will have to travel there. So if you're staying in a hotel, you know, the hotel people, I'm pretty sure love that. Something that happened, and you guys are too young for this, but 9/11 in 2001, that was something that was very big that affected the hotel industry for a while because we didn't know who was coming in and doing anything. So 9/11 affected us. So after 9/11, of course, we had a couple other things, but then the biggest thing after that was the pandemic. How do you think positive and negative reviews may affect travel in your business? Or do you think positive and negative reviews. Do you think that affects travel or affects your business?
Yeah.
You ask that question one more time.
Do you think if you're going to a restaurant or a hotel or amusement park, amusement park, do you look at the reviews?
Yeah.
And if you see a positive or negative review, how does that affect where you are going to spend your money?
It affects it because you should always want to know how good quality or like how good of a time you're gonna have there. So if it has bad views, you shouldn't really spend your money there. Or if it has good views, then go there and enjoy yourself.
And again, it's all about what we have said from the beginning of the class is the overall experience and where you actually want to spend your money. And if you're working in that establishment, you need to understand how your role is and it's affecting people that are coming to spend their money with you. So if you're having a bad day and I don't care today, that affects your teammate, that affects you. And it also may affect, how you may be handling your business for that day. You may not cook as well as you may want to cook. You may not, if you're flying, you may not pay attention, which I hope you do pay attention, but you may not pay attention all that much. So all of that really does matter. What do you think about flight delays? Do you think they may affect how people are traveling right now?
Yeah, it affects a lot. I know recently there's been like around the colder areas, like blizzards and snowstorms that provide delay, and then there's delays for like if there's a thunderstorm or a storm in an area, but prevent people from getting to places that they need to go, and and also like there's some like parts for planes that have been delayed, so it's like they need a delay, like it delays their everything. It shuts things down for people if they need to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what about like the TSA lines? I don't know if you've seen anything on TV. For us, at our little small international airport, which only international because we have UPS here, but that's neither here nor there. If you have a flight going out at 6:30 a.m., you now have to get to the airport 2 hours ahead of time to go someplace. And our airport is not that big. So is everybody in New York or New Jersey there? Is that where you guys are at?
I'm in Florida.
Yeah. I'm in New York. I'm in New York.
Oh, in Florida? Oh, I went to Orlando Airport. OMG. Massive. That's like a whole business in itself in that one. But flight delays. I may not want to travel right now. If I'm going to be standing in line for 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to probably drive now because I'm going to probably get to my destination faster. So if you've been a pilot, you have to understand how that affects you. If you're going to be working at United Airlines, that CEO has to realize, how is that affecting my business with these flight delays? Am I losing money? What can I do to help offset that for my passengers? So these are things that, as business owners, that we all have to think about. And again, unfortunately, and I wanted to include this video for my pilots, something that's going on right now is safety in the air. Unruly passengers. It's really becoming huge, and the FAA, is really cracking down on the fines that they are putting to those passengers, which, we have to try to make it safe for everyone to travel. But I actually saw this video and I thought it was interesting how this pilot actually reacted to this situation. And I don't know all the protocols, of course, I think there's 2 or 3 people that's flying in the cockpit. My pilots can probably speak to this more than obviously than I can. But, this situation happens now. And you have to be understanding and be cognizant of what's going on in the whole airplane, right? Not only what you have to deal with the instruments that you have and make sure you're getting there safely, you now have to, excuse me for saying idiots, that's making your job a little bit harder as well, because you are responsible for the safety of the airline, of getting those passengers to their destinations, right? So This is a short video. It's like only like 2 minutes. This has a small cuss word in it, but it's not really bad. But just wanted to say that. But here it is.
You gotta try harder. Oh, get over it, bitches. You gotta get off eventually.
A flight from Kentucky has just landed at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Passengers pull out their phones to record one impatient man who insists on deplaning before he's allowed to.
Yeah. I could.
The passenger is standing in the aisle when the flight attendant asks him to take a seat.
I'm good.
He sits on the armrest, but quickly gets up and tailgates her up the aisle.
No, really. Go.
He continues to be antagonistic, coaxing other passengers to join his one-man protest against sitting. When he doesn't get any takers, he decides to go it alone.
Move.
Take a seat.
Move.
Take a seat.
Move.
Take a seat.
Move.
I said take a seat, sir.
I don't want to take a seat.
I don't care what you want to do. You're going to take a seat right now.
When confronted by the pilots, he becomes even more brazen. He is not backing down.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna let me fly.
Sir?
But I'm gonna get by.
Sir, sit down.
without you or his permission. Why?
You can't get out.
Why are you closing my exit? I'm trying to help you. They're not listening. No, please stop doing this. Please.
Do you mind just sitting down? Really?
No, I don't.
Sit down. Sit down. Enough. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant. Enough.
Yep.
You hear me?
Yep.
When we roll this back for another look, we see the man trying to run through the flight attendant, pushing her down. That's when this hero pilot takes action.
Sit down. Sit down. Enough. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant. Enough.
Yep.
That's it.
And whatever you do is going on Facebook, and you're a complete loser.
The problem passenger was found guilty of 3 misdemeanors: assault, communicating threats, and being intoxicated in public.
Enough. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant.
So, if you're a pilot and you're flying, do you think you could do something like that? Have you ever thought about that now? Is that something that you thought about, picking a career being a pilot, that this is something that you may have to now deal with?
Yeah, I've had, I know, like, you have to go in pilot school, you have to go to like training for certain situations, a multitude. But yeah, I didn't know that people could get on a plane and be intoxicated like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes before, again, those honor rewards I was talking about, you have, I believe like Delta, for instance, I know has a special lounge, and I'm pretty sure they all do, but you have a special lounge for your Diamond VIP people or people who travel a whole lot. You can go to these, go to the bar, because it is hard for some people to fly. So I guess it's kind of, knock the edge off for them. I wouldn't do that. But they drink too much, or they may be on some type of medicine, or some may be on drugs or something. You don't know who you're dealing with now. And those are things that we have to think about when we're talking to people. And what if, if you're traveling now and you're on the airplane, how does that make you now feel? Do you feel safe and secure if you're traveling, if you see someone that's acting like that on your flight?
No.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole situation more stressful, because I know like every plane it's like life or death basically, and having all this, having people like doing this stuff makes the whole like it makes it even more harder,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I know if I'm traveling and I see someone that's acting like that, of course, we all, first thing we do is get the phone out, try to start recording and all that stuff. It's the first thing we do, right? We never ask them, are you okay? What's going on? Can I call 911? First thing we want to do, let's just record. Let's see how many likes or whatever we can get, or whatever, things like that. But it really is a safety and concern that you all have to be, you all as we all, as we're going about our everyday lives now. Something with COVID, I think, really brought out different things in people, and it's affecting people in different ways still. So we just, always be careful of your surroundings, what's going on in airplanes. If you see something, say something, because we all just need to make sure that we're all staying safe. So this is saying the latest figures show that there was one unruly incident reported for, and I cannot see what that is saying, for every 568 flights in 2022, up from 1 per 830 flights in 2021. The most common characterizations of incidents in 2022 was noncompliance, verbal abuse, and intoxication. Physical abuse incidents remain very rare, but of course, that is coming very popular as well. I've seen a lot of things on social media now where people are hitting flight attendants, hitting pilots, trying to open doors of an airline. That just happened about a month ago, I believe. The increasing trend of unruly passengers is instances worrying. Passengers and crew are entitled to a safe and hassle-free experience on board. Our professional crews are well trained to manage unruly passenger scenarios, but of course it's unacceptable. And I'm pretty sure they have airline marshals, and I'm pretty sure, like Eric said, they have extensive training now for pilots and some from flight attendants. But you don't go to work to thinking that you should have to defend yourself from an unruly passenger. But those are just things that are part of our jobs now. Although non-compliance incidents initially fell after the mask mandates were removed on most flights, the frequency began to rise again throughout 2022 and ended the year some 37% up. So the most common examples of non-compliance, we just kind of saw in this video: smoking of cigarettes, e-cigs, vapes, and puff devices in the cabin of laboratories. Why do people need to smoke on a plane? It's like, that's just stupid. You're going to be gone for, a certain amount of hours. Do whatever you got to do. Put on a patch, do something, or don't fly. You have to realize what it is that you need. People don't want to fasten their seatbelts when instructed. And I'm pretty sure my pals could probably speak to that too. Is it like turbulence, where you probably need to have your seatbelts fastened? So that's a big safety concern. Exceeding the carry-on baggage allowance or failure to store baggage when required. Again, what if you hit the turbulence and the overhead compartments fly open, and then like all that luggage comes down, that luggage hits that guest or that airline passenger, that can be hurt. I'm pretty sure there's some type of restrictions on how much luggage can be on the plane that probably helps you fly. So that's probably why there's just a lot of restrictions on that, and people don't understand that, right? So again, you have to educate the consumer. You have to educate the passenger, and just people just don't want to hear the word no. Consumption of alcohol on board, like you were saying too, depending on the length of your flight, will determine what food may get served. You might get just like soda, some pop or peanuts if you're just traveling for a couple of hours. But if you're traveling for longer periods of time, you're gonna have more food options, and as well as options for drinking alcohol. So you should always know your limits. And I'm pretty sure flight attendants are probably trained. I know we're trained in the hotel industry of over serving guests. So I'm sure there's some sort of training that comes along with being a flight attendant. But again, I think it is in that small space, it's a little bit harder to control because people, I think, become agitated and out of control, and you can't go anywhere. If you're at a restaurant or a hotel, I can escort you out of those premises. I can escort you to your room. I can escort you to a cab, to Uber, anything like that. But on an airline, where are you going? If you're on a plane, you can't go nowhere for those hours, right? So you're just sitting there with those people. So you have to kind of learn exactly how to deal with them. So as we about to start wrapping up, it's a hospitality industry regaining strength after COVID. What do you think? You think we're bouncing back?
I think it is.
Do you see more people traveling or talking about going places?
Yes, like making trips on cruises to different countries and around around the states.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good thing. And maybe like going out to, you're going out to more restaurants to go eat at sometimes too. It's like, hey, we're also now getting all the family together. Because I remember during the whole 2020, we had to drive-by birthday parties. So now everybody can kind of go and get something to eat. We can now do theme parties and bringing snacks with different colors and stuff like that. So we got very creative during COVID times. And we're now seeing some of those things of what we're doing. And a lot of businesses failed, but some you had to adapt so that way you can still succeed in the business. So a lot of stores might have closed, but I saw a lot of restaurants close, but I saw a lot more food trucks opening up. So like that was, they couldn't maintain their brick and mortar store, but they were able to get a food truck and still be able to do what they needed to do and get the food out and still make money. So it's really being adaptable in our industry and trying to stay ahead of the trends, getting some magazines, publications, and reading those and see exactly what is the economy doing? How's it affecting your particular business, your particular profession, or what is it you want to do? So some good news. I know, talking about COVID and how it affected us, but really, as we said too, we're expanding again. The growth of the travel and tourism sector has been influenced by several factors, including the ease of access of information, an increased amount of time of paid leave. Remember I said a lot of people, when they came back to work, they wanted more vacation time. And so they got more vacation time, they're able to travel more. There's a 228% increase in spending by international travelers in the United States compared to 2021. We're opening up our borders and stuff again, right? People are able to start traveling internationally again. SMEs, small meetings and events will lead the way in business travel recovery in 2022. What was going on during the pandemic in 2020? What was we all doing? And what are we doing now? Yeah, resuming, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the big thing, right? It's like we all had to connect with each other by just doing all this, doing videos. Well, now we all need everybody to go back to work. We need to figure out exactly what we're doing. So meetings are coming back because people have to start coming back to work now. The top fastest growing spring travel destinations are Hawaii, Paris, France, Lihani, Hawaii, the London, United Kingdom, and Italy. I did see when travel was coming back that I saw a lot of cheap flights to Italy. It's like maybe one day I'll be able to go there. International travelers account for 15% of the total US travel spending in 2019, but just 6% in 2020. So the demand went down, right? Because people you couldn't travel. You couldn't go overseas anymore. We cut everything off. So again, like I said, it's opening back up. 2022, demand for domestic flights is expected to reach 93%. So again, it's going back up. That's what it's saying. Global business travel will fully recover by 2024. Its forecast is to increase by 14% in 2022, with the US or China seeing the largest growth. Because I do believe we did stop traveling. We cut off traveling to China there. So now we're opening that back up. So, we're able to see some more of our international traveling. The air, cruise, and ground transport. So widespread adoption of the internet is a source of information. It has the ease of mobility and increased awareness of new destinations. How about significant changes in how you travel now? Excuse me, I'm sorry. You see people on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is that we're looking at, and hopefully probably AI now too. You see all this stuff and you're able to see like, oh, they're traveling, they're going to this place, they're going to that place. I want to do it too. So really social media has taken off. So that's really for my sales team. That's why I was like, we got to do social media because your age group, and as you start traveling, you're not the traditional traveler where you may be going online. You may be searching a little bit more on your phone. So we have to be creative on how we reach you to get your money. 528,070 domestically operated flights to the United States in 2022, an increase from the 375,000 flights operated in 2021 in January. So again, as we said too, it's coming back. We all are able to get back out there, start spending our money. We're getting more comfortable. There are more medicine that's getting out there to everybody. We're understanding exactly what COVID was and the information, if it was good information or bad information. We now have history on some of these things. So we can see, so hopefully in the future, if this hopefully doesn't happen again, but something like this was to happen, we have a little bit of the history on it. So overall, this is a great field to get into. There is definitely a lot of money in the field. Pilots can make up to, I was researching that, up to 100-something thousand, 6 figures, right? Doing out there. Restaurant owners, it depends on if you're going to do a brick and mortar, if you're going to do a food truck, if you do pastry, you can start cooking at home and selling food. That was very popular during COVID, and it's popular now. There's all types of ways to make money and doing the things that you want to do. If you do want to get into hotel ownership, again, it's a great field to get into. You don't really need a lot of experience. You can work your way up. That's what I did 20 years ago in my hotel field. So at the front desk, when I was making $7.75 an hour, 20-something years ago, to now I am, have a very large increase of some money, and with my bonus stuff like that, almost, really making like 6 figures and stuff. And if you are a person of color, of different ethnic backgrounds, this is also a great industry for you because we need diversity, right? Diversity and inclusion is important. People need to see, people need to be working at, if you have guests coming in or if you're flying, if you have restaurants, people want to see exactly what they look like. You may have somebody that may speak a different language. And what if you know that language, right? So that's why it's, diversity and inclusion is very, very important in any industry that we're working in too, because you want to see what you look like. And do we have any questions? We're at the end of our class. Are there any questions? Did we learn a little bit for some stuff about our industry, about the hotel or being a pallet or a shelf, and some different opportunities that maybe you wasn't thinking about? I don't know if anybody's saying yes or no because your mics are off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really, really, really want to thank you. I appreciate you taking the time out to listen to me. I'm always very nervous speaking to people, in particular to our young scholars. So I hope you got something out of this class. And I wish you much success in the future. And if you ever need any type of mentorship or any advice about the hotel industry, I am only an email away. And I thank you guys so much for everything. And good luck in your futures.
Thank you so much. We truly appreciate all the wonderful information you have presented. Well, for this week, our Tuesday and Thursday sessions. We appreciate you so much, Professor Barlow. Absolutely. It's in the chat. Tiana said, excellent class, Professor Barlow. And I totally agree. Scholars, just like last time, we are going to drop this survey in the chat. Go ahead and check out the chat. Fill out that survey. Once you've completed the survey, you are free to log off. But we need you to complete that survey. On Tuesday, I think maybe one or two scholars did not complete the survey. So please just take that time to do it. We want to hear the feedback from you guys. We want to know what worked. What can we do to improve your experience throughout these sessions that you guys are having this summer? And the only way we can know that is if you share that information with us. So just take a few minutes, go ahead to fill out this survey. Chef Dre, I see you. Have any words for our scholars this evening?
Man, thank you guys for being on time and logging on today. Professor Tanya, I just wanted to give you a quick shout out. Thank you for doing the back-to-back class and getting the youth together. Just excited, and I wanted you guys to get a quick view of, Costa Rica. I don't know if how well you guys can see it back there, but traveling chef out here in Costa Rica, about to teach some international cuisine to some to some ladies out here. So, and hopefully, if everything works well, the partnership I got with the school, Costa Rica might be a place for an internship. So, I at least wanted you guys to see that. And next week, I'll be back in Costa Rica, and one of the classes I will be in Costa Rica. So you guys actually get to see some of my students in the Costa Rican class. So I'm excited for that. So you guys are officially international players, just so you know. You are now international. All right, back to you, Chess.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Chef Dre, for sharing that with us. It is exciting. We have exciting things going on here at SOAR, so you definitely want to remain connected with us. So any questions from our scholars tonight about the course overall? I know you guys have some assignments that are due. All right, if there are no questions, thank you again for logging on, for participating. We truly appreciate it. Fill out that survey that's in the chat, and once you're completed, you are free to log off. Thank you so much, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Have a great night. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Eric. Good night. All right, guys, I am logging off. Thank you so much. You guys have a good night.